Welcome back, time travelers. I did a little research about today's, the first date that we're visiting to today. So, without further ado, let's go back in time, shall we? We're going a lot further back, and I mean a lot further back in time than we have ever gone to. What I mean by this is we're going back to 36 CE. Yes, CE. When the Roman Emperor Nero was born. He became infamous for his personal corruption and wastefulness and doubtful evidence for his burning of Rome and persecutions of Christians. Now, I did a little research on CE. What I found was that most people are aware of the Gregorian calendar, which is based on the supposed birth date of Jesus Christ. The following years that will count up to this event are accompanied by either AD or CE, while preceding years, meaning years before, count down from it. Now, the following years, the ones that are accompanied by AD and CE, are the ones that are like Jesus Christ's birthday would be counted as 0, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. While the preceding years, the ones that are come before it, let's say 0 would be like 99 and then 0, and then it would restart like it would do in counting up like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. It would be like 99, 98, 97, like that. So CE means common or current era. So in turn, BCE means before current era. So let the year that we started off in is CE. So it will be current era. So it would be 36 years after the birth of Jesus Christ. Now AD means annual dominion, or the year of our Lord. I always thought that AD stood for after death. Like, let's say he lived 43 years and then was crucified. I thought it was that actually meant like after his death. But it turns out that it's annual dominion, or the year of our Lord. So based off that and my understanding, it would be 36, I'm sorry, it's 36 years before his birth. So let's move on to several centuries later to 1791, when the first 10 amendments of the U.S. Constitution, also known as the Bill of Rights, which is a collection of mutually mutually reinforcing guarantees of individual rights and limitations on the federal and state governments. And they all 10 of the first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights, or I should say the Bill of Rights, was adopted as a single unit. Now we jump to 1890 when the Hunkapapa Lakota Chief Sitting Bull was killed by Native American policemen who, with others, were attempting to arrest him near the Grand River in South Dakota. We are now going to be moving 2 years down the timeline to 1892 when the American oil billionaire J. Paul Getty was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Moving forward 15 years, we land in 1907 when the Brazilian architect Oscar Niemeyer, an early exponent of modern architect in Latin America and co-writer of the 1988 Pritzker Prize, was born. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark and guess that's something similar to the Nobel Peace Prize, but I did not do any research on that. Moving along to 1938, the Spanish nationalist government restored the full citizenship status to former King Alfonso XIII. In 1939, the premiere of Gone with the Wind, starring Vivien Leigh and Clark Gable. The film Gone with the Wind, a romantic tale of American South during the Civil War, adapted from the 1936 novel by Margaret Mitchell, premiered on this day in Atlanta, Georgia. On his 41st birthday in 1948, when the former U.S. State Department official Edgar Hiss was indicted on 2 charges of perjury for lying about his dealings with Whittaker Chambers, who accused him of membership in the communist espionage ring. Though I would be willing to bet that during the late 40s, early 50s, that was a huge deal, and I'm sure it still is today. Even though today I don't think we would hear a lot about like the espionage, and it'd be like another headline and be like, oh hey, this person in Congress or this person was convicted of espionage, and it'd be like a no big deal, and they'd move on to the next story. Now we're going to jump to 1969 when President Richard M. Nixon announced a third reduction of U.S. troops in Vietnam, despite reports of increased enemy infiltration. In 1970, the Verna 7, a Soviet unmanned spacecraft, landed on Venus. Moving right along, we land in 1989 when anti-government demonstrations erupted in Timisoara, Romania, beginning the revolution that toppled the communist leader, Nicolae Cicero. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly. Please do not come at me in the comments. From power a few days out, and they brought him from power a few days later. We now move to 1997 and Guyana. This is when Janet Rosenberg Jorgen was elected president of Guyana, becoming the first elected female president in South America and the first white president of Guyana. While we're still in 1997, let's head back to the US and the United States US Department of Defense. With the United States Defense Department ordered that all Americans in its service, which was about 2.5 million people, to be insulated against anthrax, a potential weapon of biological warfare. Now, I don't know if that would be one of the vaccines that we would get as kids before we would be able to enter school when we're like 4 or 5 years old, 4, 5, 6 years old, or if they don't like worry about that, because at that time I think I was already in school at that time, because I was about 6 years old, so I may have been in kindergarten, first grade, something like that. We now move to the turn of the century of 2020, or I'm sorry, 2000, when in mid-December, 2 boats transporting more than 160 suspected illegal immigrants from Indonesia to Australia sank in a stormy seas off the northern coast of Australia. All aboard the 2 vessels were feared drowned. Now we're going to Pisa, Italy in 2001. This is when the Leaning Tower of Pisa reopened in Pisa, Italy, after more than 10 years of work to stabilize the structure. That would be like the US and the Statue of Liberty. I know, I was told anyway, that you can go up to, I want to say up to her crown, but not up to her torch. Or up to her torch, but not her crown. I forget exactly what I was told. But either way, it sounds so much like what I was told about the Statue of Liberty. In 2011, the Iraq War officially ended as the United States formally declared that its mission in the country was over. On to 2013, when European Union breaks off association agreement talks with Ukraine. Ukraine President Viktor Yanukovych was told European representatives that he still intends to sign the agreement, but he has ordered government ministers to prepare to join a Russian customs unit. And with this, welcome back to 2023 and our current history. Until the next video.